Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Crack UPSC CSE English in our crash course for Prelims 2021 Inspire. In today's session, we'll continue with President of India, and in this session, we'll see parts of the President of India. It's my pleasure to welcome you all on India's largest learning platform, Unacademy, where you will get daily live classes, structured courses, unlimited access for live and recorded classes, plus live test, that is mock test, where you can evaluate yourself during the preparation. We 100 plus top educators will assist you in your journey. It's me, Rishikesh Inamdar, having experience around 8 years to guiding UPSC aspirants. Now, you can follow me on Unacademy and you can join our Telegram group using this link. Yes, number of aspirants asking about from which subjects they can start preparation, or they are in confusion from which subjects or choice of subjects they can start their preparation. So don't worry, we have 15,000 plus courses on our platform. So as per your choice, you can start your preparation for UPSC CSE. We have courses like for polity, governance and international relations, Indian economy, geography, history, environment and ecology, and many more. So hurry up and start your preparation. Yes, we have subscriptions like for the paid courses we have plus and iconic subscription. Yes, friends, do not forget to use code RBI Live to get 10% discount for the plus courses, and same if you will apply code RBI Live to get 10% discount in iconic subscription as well. Here is the suggestion: those aspirants preparing for civil services and currently they are pursuing their graduation, then my suggestion is that they can opt for our iconic subscription, where they will get one-to-one guidance, that is personal coach, study planner and other benefits to track your preparation during your graduation. Yes, so start your preparation with her plus or iconic subscription. Yes, now here is the reminder for all of you about our Unacademy Combat, which is scheduled on 7th March in the morning 11 a.m. So enroll now. Using code RBI Live, you can enroll for Unacademy Combat. Yes, friends. So hurry up and enroll yourself for Unacademy Combat. If yes, now this is the information regarding our new batches. So we are starting these batches from 3rd March. We have new batches like Mission UPSC CSE 2022, Expedition UPSC CSE 2022, and Lux UPSC CSE 2022. Right, we have 2 years batch course for UPSC CSE 2023 and NCRT batches for UPSC CSE Prelims. So please join these batches as per your convenience. Now, those aspirants wants to start their preparation along with optional subjects, these are the combo course options available for 1 year, 2 year and 3 years. Again, do not forget to use code RBI Live to get 10% discount. Yes, friends. So start your preparation for UPSC CSE with Unacademy. Now, in today's session, we'll continue our topic, that is President. In previous 2 lectures, we have covered the election of President office, his terms, vacancy, impeachment, and all these provisions of the President of India. Yes, friends. Now, in today's lecture, we'll see powers and functions of the President. Yes. Now, The president is enjoyed the powers and functions like there are we can divide the powers and functions into various heads like his executive powers, legislative powers, financial power, judicial powers, diplomatic powers, military powers, and emergency powers. So, in today's session, we'll cover all these powers and functions of the President of India. So, let's start. First, executive powers. Yes, the executive powers and functions of the President, like first, all executive actions of the Government of India are formally taken in his name. Yes, so all executive actions of the Government of India is formally taken on his name, that is on the name of President of India. Yes, President can make rules specifying the manner in which the orders and other instruments made and executed in his name shall be authenticated. Yes, he can make rules specifying the manner. Now, President can make rules for more convenient transaction of business of the union government and for allocation of the said business among the ministers. So he can make the rules for the more convenient transaction of business of the union government of India. Yes, he appoints the prime minister. President appoints the prime minister and the other ministers. Yes, they hold office during his pleasure. Right. Now next, there are few clauses for that. Now, President appoints the AGI, Attorney General of India, and determines his remuneration, and the Attorney General holds office during the pleasure of the President. Yes, President appoints the Attorney General of India, and Attorney General holds the office during the pleasure of the President. Now, President appoints the CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, the Chief Election Commissioner, yes, and other election commissioners, yes, the Chairman and members of the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, and the governors of states. Yes, and the chairman and members of the Finance Commission as well. Yes, President appoints CAG, Chief Election Commissioner, and other election commissioners, the chairman and members of the Union Public Service Commission, the governors of states, and the chairman and members of the Finance Commission. Yes, he can seek any information relating to the administration of affairs of the Union and proposals for legislation from the Prime Minister. Yes, President can seek any information relating to the administration of affairs of the Union and proposals for legislation from the Prime Minister. Now, next, President can require the Prime Minister to submit. He can require the Prime Minister to submit for consideration of the Council of Ministers any matter on which a decision has been taken by minister but which has not been considered by the council. Now, like, yes, then he can appoint a commission of or a commission to investigate into conditions of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. So, President can appoint a commission to investigate into the conditions of SCs, STs, and OBCs. Now, President can appoint and interstate councils to promote center-state and interstate cooperation. He directly administers the union territories through administrators appointed by him. Yes, directly administers the union territories through administrators appointed by him. Then he can declare any area as scheduled area and has passed with respect to the administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas. Yes, friends. So, President can declare any area as scheduled area and has passed with respect to the administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas. Now, these are the executive powers. Yes. So, the all executive actions of the government of India are formally taken on the name of President. Yes, he can make rules specify in the manner in which the orders and other instruments made. Now, he can make rules for more convenient transaction of business of the union government and for allocation of the said business among the ministers. Yes, he appoints the prime minister and other ministers. They hold office during his pleasure. Yes, so he appoints prime minister and the other ministers on the advice of prime minister. President appoints the Attorney General of India and determines his remuneration. Yes, President appoints CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, then Chief Election Commissioners and Election Commissioners, then Chairman and other members of the UPSC. He appoints the governors of states and chairman and members of the Finance Commission. Yes, he can seek any information relating to the administration of affairs of the Union. He can require the Prime Minister to submit the consideration of the Council of Ministers any matter on which a decision has been taken by a minister but which has not been considered by the Council. Yes, this is the executive power of President. Yes, President can appoint a commission to investigate into the conditions of SCs, STs and other backward classes. He can appoint an interstate council to promote central state and interstate cooperation. He directly administers the union territories through administrators appointed by him, and he can declare any area as a scheduled area and has passed with respect to the administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas. Yes, as per situation, he can declare such areas as a scheduled areas or tribal areas, and he will ensure to the safeguards of SCs and SCs in that area mentioned in the constitution. Now, after the executive powers, we'll see legislative powers of the president. Yes. Now, the president is an integral part of the Parliament of India. Yes, the president is an integral part of the Parliament of India, and he enjoys legislative powers like he can summon or prorogue the Parliament and dissolve the Lok Sabha. He can also summon a joint sitting of both the houses of Parliament, which he presided over by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. He can address the Parliament and the commencement of the first session after each general election and the first session of each year. Yes, President addressed the Parliament at the commencement of the first session and after each general election, and also the first session of the each year addressed by the President. Now, he can send messages to the House of Parliament, whether with respect to a bill pending in the Parliament or otherwise. Yes, he can send messages to the House of Parliament, whether with respect to a bill pending in the Parliament. Now, the legislative power, he can appoint any member of the Lok Sabha to preside over its proceedings when the offices of both the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker fall vacant, and similarly, he can also appoint any member of the Rajya Sabha to preside over the proceedings when the offices of both Chairman and the Deputy Chairman fall vacant. Yes, in case of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker office or designations fall vacant, the President can appoint any member of the Lok Sabha to preside over its proceedings. And in case of Rajya Sabha, if the offices of both Chairman and Deputy Chairman fall vacant, he can also appoint any member of the Rajya Sabha to preside over the proceedings of Rajya Sabha. Yes, then he nominates 12 members of the Rajya Sabha from amongst persons having special knowledge or practical experience in literature, science, art and social service. Yes, President nominates 12 members of Rajya Sabha from having special knowledge or practical experience in literature, science, art and social service and sports. Yes. Then President can nominate 2 members to the Lok Sabha from the Anglo-Indian community. Yes, in our special lectures on Unacademy app, we have covered this topic like Anglo-Indian community and the provisions related with this. So here, just remember, President can nominate 2 members to the Lok Sabha from the Anglo-Indian community if he observed that there is lack of representation from that community. Now, next legislative part, he decides on questions as to disqualifications of members of the parliament in consultation with the election commission. Yes, he decides on questions as to disqualifications of members of the parliament in consultation with the election commission, and then his prior recommendation or permissions is needed to introduce certain types of bills in the parliament. For example, a bill involving expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India or a bill for the alternation of boundaries of states or creation of new state. Yes. So, President's prior recommendation or permission is needed to introduce certain types of bills in the parliament. So, the bills related with the involving expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India, a bill for the alternation of boundaries of states or creation of new states. So these bills require prior permission or recommendation from the president. Yes, before introducing in the parliament. Now, so in subclause, when a bill is sent to the president after it has been passed by the parliament. Yes, when a bill is sent to the president after it has been passed by the parliament, then give his assent to the bill and withhold his assent to the bill, or return the bill for reconsideration of Parliament. Yes, these are the subclause mentioned in the recommendation and permission for the some bills, certain bills, like, and when a bill sent to the president after it has been passed by the parliament, and he can give his assent to the bill or withhold his assent to the bill, or he can return the bill for reconsideration of the parliament. In case of, if it is not money bill, then he can return the bill for the reconsideration of the parliament. Now, however, the bill is passed again by the parliament with or without amendments, the president has to give his assent to the bill. Yes, if a bill passed again by the parliament without any amendment to that bill, then the president has to give his assent to the bill. Yes. Now, next, when a bill passed by a state legislature is reserved by the governor for consideration of the president, and the president can give assent. Yes. So, when a bill passed by a state legislature and is reserved by the governor for consideration of the president, then give his, so president can give his assent to the bill, or he can withhold his assent to the bill, or he can direct the governor to return the bill reconsideration of the state legislature. And it should be noted that it's not obligatory for the president to give his assent even the bill is again passed by the state legislature and sent again him for his consideration. Yes, right. So this is related with the bills passed or bills forwarded by the state legislature, or where a bill passed by the state legislature is reserved by the governor, then these are the provisions or the powers of the president he can perform with the state bills reserved by the governor. Now, then next part is he can promulgate ordinances when the parliament is not in session. So, these ordinances must be approved by the parliament within 6 weeks from its reassembly, and he can also withdraw an ordinance at any time. Yes, so president lays the reports, president lays the report of the CAG, UPSC, Finance Commission and other bodies before the Parliament. Yes, President lays the reports of the CAG, UPSC and Finance Commission and other bodies before the Parliament. Then he can make regulations for the peace, progress and good government of the Andaman Nicobar Island, Lakshadweep, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Div and Ladakh. In case of Puducherry also, the president can legislate by making regulations but only when the assembly is suspended or dissolved. Yes, in case of Puducherry also he can make regulations. So the president can legislate by making regulations but only when the assembly is suspended or dissolved. In case of those UTs have legislative assemblies. Yes, these are the legislative powers of the president. Yes. President is an integral part of the Parliament of India, so he enjoys the legislative powers, like he can summon or prorogue the Parliament and dissolve the Lok Sabha. He can address the parliament at the commencement of the first session and after each general election and the first session of the year. He can send messages to the houses of parliament, whether with respect to a bill pending in the parliament or otherwise. Then he can appoint any member of the Lok Sabha to preside over its proceeding when the offices of Speaker or Deputy Speaker fall vacant, and in case of Rajya Sabha, if office of the Chairman or Deputy Chairman fall vacant, then the member of the Rajya Sabha to preside over the proceedings by the appointment of the President. Yes, he nominates 12 members of the Rajya Sabha from the fields like literature, science, art, social service, and sports. Yes, he can nominate 2 members to the Lok Sabha from the Anglo-Indian community. He decides on questions on to disqualifications of the members of the parliament in consultation with the election commission. Yes, in such a bills like involving expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India or a bill from the alternation boundaries of states or creation of new states where his prior recommendation or permission is required. Then when a bill is sent to the president after it has been passed by the parliament, gives his assent to the bill, withhold his assent to the bill, or return the bill for reconsideration of the parliament. Yes, in case of state legislature, a bill passed by the state legislature and this bill is reserved by the governor for consideration of the president, then president can give his assent to the bill or he can withhold his assent to the bill, or president direct the governor to return the bill for the reconsideration of the state legislature. Yes, then he can promulgate ordinances when the parliament is not in the session. Also, president put the reports before the parliament and these reports from CAG, UPSC, Finance Commission and other bodies. Yes, the reports of Comptroller, Auditor General, Union Public Service Commission and Finance Commission. Then he can make regulations to the peace, progress and good government of the Andaman Nicobar Island, Lakshadweep, Dadra Nagar Haveli, Daman and Div and Ladakh. Yes, in the case of Puducherry also. Now, after that we'll see financial powers. Yes, financial powers of the president. Now, a money bills can be introduced in the parliament only with his prior recommendation. Yes, money bills can be introduced in the parliament only with the prior recommendation of the president. Then he can causes to be laid. He causes to be laid before the parliament the annual financial statement, that is union budget. Then no demand for a grant can be made except on his recommendation. Then he can make advances out of the contingency fund of India to meet any unforeseen expenditure. Then he constitutes a finance commission after every 5 years to recommend the distribution of revenues between the center and the states. Yes. So, if we are talking about financial powers of the president, so the all money bills can be introduced in the parliament only after the prior recommendation of the president. Then he causes to be laid before the parliament the annual statement, that is union budget. Yes, on demand for a grant can be made except on his recommendation. No demand for a grant can be made except on his recommendation, and he can make advances out of the contingency fund of India to meet any unforeseen expenditure. Yes, in this course itself, we'll see the contingency fund, consolidated fund, and all those information related with the financial pass. Then, President continues a finance commission after every 5 years to recommend the distribution of revenue between the central and states. Yes. After that, judicial powers. Yes. So the judicial powers and functions of the president, like he appoints the chief justice and other judges of the Supreme Court and high courts. So the president has power to appoint the Chief Justice of India and the other judges of the Supreme Court and Chief Justice of High Court and other judges of High Courts. Yes, he can seek advice from the Supreme Court on any question of law or fact. However, the advice tendered by the Supreme Court is not binding on the President. Then, President can grant pardon, reprieve, respite or remission of punishment or suspend or remit. Yes, this is the judicial powers of the President. Yes, as we know, there are number of cases in the news where a person who convicted for any crime like various punishments and in some cases of death punishment also. So these cases or the particular person who is convicted under various crimes, he can approach to the president for the grant pardon. Yes, right. So president has the judicial powers like grant pardon, reprieve, respite and remission of punishment or suspend or remit that. Now, yes, now, like commit the sentence of any person convicted of any office, any offense. Yes, commit the sentence of any person convicted of any offense, like in all cases where the punishment or sentence by a court martial. Yes, in all cases where the punishment or sentence is for an offense against a union law, and in all cases where the sentence is a sentence of death. Yes. So these are the judicial powers of the President of India. Now we'll see diplomatic powers. Yes. The international treaties and agreements are negotiated and concluded on behalf of the President. However, they are subject to the approval of the Parliament, and he represents India in international forums and affairs and sends the received diplomats like ambassadors, high commissioners, and so on. So these are the diplomatic powers of the President. Then we'll see military powers. So he is the supreme commander of the defense forces of India, and in that capacity he appoints the chiefs of the army, the navy and the air force. Yes, he can declare war or conclude peace subject to the approval of the parliament. Yes, these are the diplomatic and military powers of the president. Now, after that, we'll see emergency powers. Yes, in addition to the normal powers, the Constitution confers extraordinary powers on the president to deal with the following three types, like national emergency mentioned under Article 352, President's Rule Article 356 and 365, financial emergency Article 360. So these are the extraordinary powers of the president. Now, after the emergency part, yes, already we have covered in our special classes. So please download Unacademy app and you can watch our special classes on the app. Yes, the extraordinary powers of the president, national emergency described in Article 352, President's Rule, Article 356 and 365, and financial emergency under Article 360. Now, veto power of the president. Yes. So basically veto is a Latin word that connotes forbid. Veto means, this is the Latin word and meaning of the veto is forbid. Now, a bill passed by the parliament can become an act only if it receives the assent of the president. Yes, any bill passed by the parliament can become an act only if it receives the assent of the president. Yes, when such a bill is presented to the president for his assent, he can three alternatives under Article 111, 111 of the Constitution, like he may give his assent to the bill, or he may be withhold his assent to the bill, or he may be written the bill for the reconsideration of the parliament. Yes. So he written the bill in case it's not a money bill. Right. Now, if the bill passed again, now such written bills again passed by the parliament with or without any amendments, then again presented to the president, then president must give his assent to the bill. Yes. These are the veto powers of the president. Now, thus the president has the veto power over the bills passed by the parliament. That is, he can withhold his assent to the bills. The object of conferring this power on the president is twofold, like to prevent hasty and ill-considered legislation by the parliament, to prevent a legislation which may be unconstitutional. Yes. So, in case of he can withhold his assent, like there are like to prevent hasty and ill-considered legislation of the parliament and to prevent a legislation which may be unconstitutional. Now, the veto power enjoyed by the executive in modern states can be classified into following four types. First, absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. So, absolute veto means withholding of assent to the bill passed by the legislature. Qualified veto, which can be overridden by legislature with the higher majority. Suspensive veto, which can be overridden by the legislature with an ordinary majority. And pocket veto, that is taking no action on the bill passed by the legislature. Yes, on the above four, the President of India is vested with three, that is absolute veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. There is no qualified veto in the case of Indian President. It is possessed by the American President. Yes, the three vetoes of the President of India like absolute veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. Yes, the veto power enjoyed by the executive of the modern state are the four types of the vetoes, but the case of Indian president, there are three vetoes power with him. Now, first, absolute veto. Yes, it refers to the power of the president to withhold his assent to a bill passed by parliament. The bill then ends and does not become act. Yes, usually this veto is exercised in the following two cases, like with respect to private members bill, that is bill introduced by any member of parliament who is not minister, and second with respect to the government bills when the cabinet resigns after the passage of the bills but before the assent by the president, and the new cabinet advises the president not to give his assent to such bills. Yes, this is the absolute veto. Now, we'll see the example. In 1954, President Dr. Rajendra Prasad withheld his assent to the PEPSU appropriation bill. So, this bill was passed by Parliament when the President rule was in operation in the state of PEPSU. But when the bill was presented to the President for his assent, the President's rule was revoked. Yes. Then again in 1991, President R. Venkatraman withheld his assent to the salary allowances and pension of members of parliament bill. So this bill was passed by parliament on the last day before dissolution of Lok Sabha. So without obtaining the previous recommendation of the president. Now, next type of veto is suspensive veto. Yes, the president exercises this veto when he returns a bill for reconsideration of the parliament. Now, however, if the bill is passed again by the parliament with or without amendments and again presented to the president, it is obligatory for the president to give his assent to the bill, and this means that the presidential veto is overridden by a repassage of the bill by the same ordinary majority. Yes, yes. So the president exercises this veto when he returns a bill for the reconsideration of the parliament. Now, as mentioned earlier, the president does not possess this veto in case of money bills. Yes, the president can either give his assent to a money bill or withhold his assent to money bill but cannot return it for the reconsideration of the parliament. And normally, the president gives his assent to money bills as it is introduced in the parliament with his previous permission. Yes, as we know, money bills require prior recommendation or permission of the president. Now, pocket veto. Next, in this case, the president neither ratifies or nor rejects or nor return the bill. So it simply keeps the bill pending for an indefinite period. Yes. So this power of president not to take any action on the bill is known as pocket veto. So the president can exercise this veto power as constitution does not prescribe any time limit within which he has to take the decision with respect to a bill presented to him for his assent. Now, in case of the context of United States of America, the president has to return the bill for reconsideration within 10 days. Hence, it is remarked that the pocket of the Indian president is bigger than the American president. Yes, this is about pocket veto. So, where the power of president not to take any action on the bill is known as pocket veto. Now, we'll see the example like in 1986, President Zelsin exercised the pocket veto with respect to the Indian Post Office Bill. Yes, the bill passed by the Rajiv Gandhi government imposed restrictions on the freedom of press and hence was widely criticized. Now, after 3 years, in 1989, the next president, R. Venkatraman, sent bill back to the reconsideration, but the new National Front government decided to drop the bill. Yes, now, it should be noted here that the president has no veto power in respect of a constitutional amendment bill. Now, just remember, the president has no veto power in respect of a constitutional amendment bill. Now, the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971 made it obligatory for the president to give his assent to constitutional amendment bill. Yes, the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971 made it obligatory for the president to give his assent to a constitutional amendment bill. Now, presidential veto over state legislation. Yes, after the parliament, we'll see the presidential veto on state legislation. So the president has veto power with respect to state legislation also, and a bill passed by a state legislature can become an act only if it is receives the assent of the governor or the president. Yes, in case the bill is reserved for the consideration of the president. Now, when a bill passed by a state legislature are presented to the governor for his assent and he has favored alternatives under Article 200 of the Constitution. So the governor, yes, the governor, he may be give his assent to the bill, he may withhold his assent to the bill, or he may return the bill for consideration of the state legislature, or he may reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. Yes. So the president has the veto power with respect to the state legislation, where a bill passed by the state legislature can become an act only if it receives the assent of the governor or the president in case of bill reserved for the consideration of the president. Now, a bill passed by the state legislature is presented to the governor for his assent and he has four alternative powers mentioned under Article 200. So, president correction. In that case, governor may give his assent to a bill passed by the state legislature or he may withhold his assent to the bill. He may return the bill for consideration of state legislature or he may reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. Yes. Now, when a bill is reserved by the governor for consideration of the president, Then the president has three alternatives under Article 201 of the Constitution. So the president may be give his assent to the bill, president may withhold his assent to the bill, or he may direct the governor to return the bill for the reconsideration of the state legislature, and if the bill is passed again by the state legislature with or without amendment and presented again to the president for his assent, the president is not bound. Yes, this is the difference between the bill passed or reconsidered by the parliament or state legislature. In the case of state legislature, the president is not bound to give his assent to the bill. Now this means that the state legislature cannot override the veto power of the president. Yes, state legislature cannot override the veto power of the president. Further, the constitution has not prescribed any time limit within which the president has to take decision with regard to a bill reserved by the governor of his consideration. Hence, the president can exercise pocket veto in respect of state legislation also. Yes. Now we'll see through same things through chart. Yes, now central legislation and state legislation. So with regard to the ordinary bills, so president can be yes, this bill. So ordinary bills can be ratified at the central legislation, and case of state legislation again it can be ratified. In the central legislation can be rejected, the same in the state legislature also can be rejected. Same with the ordinary bills can be written at the central legislation and in the state legislation as well. With regard to money bill, so this bill can be ratified at the central legislation and same at the state legislation. Now the money bill can be rejected but cannot be written at the central legislation, and this same it can be rejected but cannot be written in the state legislation. Now central legislation and state legislation with regard to constitutional amendment bills, so can only be ratified, that is cannot be rejected nor written. But in case of state legislation, constitutional amendment bills cannot be introduced in the state legislature. Yes. Now so veto power of the president, where we have studied, and veto is a Latin word which means forbid. Now a bill passed by the parliament can become an act only if it is received the assent of the president. Yes, so in modern state there are four types of veto: absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. In the context of our country India, we have three types of veto: absolute veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. Now we have covered that absolute veto. So it refers to the power of president to withhold his assent to bill passed by the parliament, and the bill then ends and does not become an act. This is the absolute veto, and there are reasons also we have discussed earlier. Now then we have studied the examples of the absolute veto. Then suspensive veto, so under which the president exercises this veto when he returns a bill for reconsideration of the parliament. Then pocket veto, so the power of president not to take any action on the bill is known as the pocket veto. Yes. And we should be noted that the president has no veto power in respect to or in respect of a constitutional amendment bill. Yes. Then presidential veto over state legislation we have covered with the reference of Article 201. So president may give his assent to the bill, may withhold his assent, or he may direct the governor to return the bill. Then we have covered through this chart. Now we'll see articles related to the president at a glance. Yes. So Article 52 describes the President of India. Article 53 describes executive power of the Union. Article 54 describes election of President. Article 54 describes manner of election of President. Article 56 describes term of office of President of India. Article 57 describes eligibility for re-election. Article 58 describes qualifications for election as president, and Article 59 describes conditions of president's office. Article 60 is described oath or affirmation by the president. Article 61 procedure for impeachment of the president. Article 62 time of holding election to, to fill vacancy in the office of president. Then Article 65 vice describes as vice president to act as president or to discharge his functions. Then Article 71 talked about matters relating to the election of president. Article 72 is talked about power of president to grant pardons, etc., and to suspend, remit, or commute sentences in certain cases. Then Article 74 Council of Ministers to aid and advise the president. Article 75 other provisions as to ministers like appointment terms, salaries, etc. Then Article 76 is related with the Attorney General of India. Article 77 conduct of business of the Government of India. Article 78 duties of Prime Minister in respect to furnishing of information to the President. Article 85 sessions of Parliament, prorogation and dissolution. Article 111 yes, assent to bills passed by the Parliament. Article 112 Union Budget, that is annual financial statement. Article 123 power of President to promulgate ordinances, and Article 143 powers of President to consult Supreme Court. Yes, these are the articles at a glance with related to the President. Now, that's it for the today's session. In the next lecture, we'll start new topic of the polity. So, till the time, keep revising, keep studying, and friends, do not forget to join Unacademy for free mock tests, special classes, and unlimited doubt sessions throughout your preparation. Yes, that's it for the day. Keep studying, keep learning. All the best. Take care.